Well, hello everybody, good afternoon. Prynhawn dda, Dan here at Right Nice Places, and today I thought I'd go for a walk near my new house. So behind me at the moment you might be able to see Cnicht and Moelwyn Mawr. That's not where I'm heading today. I'm going up this street behind me, or in front of me, sorry, you can see the street behind me, or the B road behind me. But the reason I'm doing this walk today is, first off, come here Maxie, it's nice to explore your new area when you've just moved, isn't it? But also, it's been a while since Maxie was on any of my videos, so I thought today, me and the hound need to spend a bit of time together, you know. So we're going to be heading today. I live, as you know, in Eryri, and I live about 4.5 mile outside of Beddgelert by A road. But when I was looking at the OS map of my area, I found a path that will take me to Beddgelert via a place called Moel Ddu, which is a hill I'll show you in a second. It looks quite interesting, and I managed to find a map, or I managed to find a route on the OS map, so I thought me and Max would try and take it today. Now, I have got a sneaking suspicion that the public footpaths on the OS map aren't going to be quite as accessible as they should be, and I have a little feeling that this part of the hills, or the Moelwyns, or the Nantwil Ridge, wherever it is that I am, going to be a bit badlandish, I think, a bit rough, but we'll find out. So yeah, me and Maxie are going to go up, aren't we, Maxie? I'll show you Maxie now, look, there he is, ready for his big hike. He's still on the lead at the minute, mainly because we're on a little B road and you never know if a tractor's going to come flying around the corner. But yeah, so I'm not quite at the official start point of where I'm going to go, or where I've marked on the map, but I'll speak to you again when you can see Moel Ddu and where we're heading to. But as always, please like, please share, and please subscribe to my channel. It's totally free to subscribe. So that big lump of rock you can see in front of you now, that's Moel Ddu, and that's where we're going to attempt to get up to. Now from here, I can see what looks like paths, or certainly sheep tracks. We'll find out as we get closer. I do think we're going to be in for some sort of boggy, heathery terrain. And after the weather we've had in Eryri the last few days, I've got the old gaiters on and stuff, because I think it could be quite boggy. But that's why I brought Max, send him first to see if he sinks, you know. I'm joking. But yeah, so this is behind my house, and you can see where it all opens up behind me, really stunning. Okay, so I'm on the path proper now. I'm exactly a mile from my house, and if you want to follow me on today's route from my place to Beddgelert going over Moel Ddu, then here's the map.
So starting the walk from Prenteg, straight off you're going to go up a B road, and then once you've got to the start of this point, you instantly come off the single track and you're straight onto gorse and heather. Up here you get a beautiful view of Cnicht, which I think is the Black Lake. And then you carry on across open farmland. You'll see a few stiles here and there, straight up Moel Ddu, very, very windy. And then coming back down this other side was carnage, really boggy, really craggy, up to my knees in filth, through the woods, really beautiful, really calm, and along the Snowdonia Slate trail, making it home to Beddgelert.
So as you can see on the map, it looks a pretty straightforward route, but if I turn this camera around now, I'm going to show you Moel Ddu. Now Moel, as we already know, you've learnt in other videos, Moel, like myself, is bald. It means bald in Welsh. Ddu is black. So I'm guessing the Black Bald Hill is kind of what it's called. And when you look at it with the dark rocks, you can kind of understand why. If I flip that around, you can see Moel Ddu right in front of me now. And I'm pretty sure you can guess what I mean about when I say there's a public footpath. There is a footpath, but it ain't going to be like the track I'm currently walking on all the way over that hill, is it? But look at these sweeping views now. Just a mile from my house, and I've come here on foot. You can just see the top of Cnicht poking over. That's Moelwyn Mawr that you can see there as well. And then you've just got this beautiful flat plain with the Rhinogs behind that. You can see the River Glaslyn, or Aberglaslyn, running through the centre of the camera there as well. So a mile into this walk, and in fact Is it Wyddfa I can see in the distance? Probably will be. We'll be there in just a second anyway to be able to see it. But yeah, absolutely stunning, but isolated and lonely up this side of the hill. So, like always, tell somebody where you're going and make sure you've got a map or some form of app and power bank to back that up as well. And today I'm gonna take it easy. According to my map, 7 miles. So that's not a big walk. Take Maxie with me. The idea being we'll have a bit of lunch, maybe at the top of Moel Ddu up there. I've got the Jetboil with me, and I've brought myself a nice vegetable curry today to eat up there. And I've brought Max the furry rabbits here and a couple of chicken feet. So we're going to have a nice little picnic up there. Look at Max, he's loving life, just enjoying himself. Oh, it's nice to be back out with him. I was going to do Cnicht today. Maximus, come here please. Come here. Just seen a cheeky sheep and the cheeky sheep saw him. That's a good boy, you carry on. With me, thank you. So yeah, so I was going to do Cnicht today. But I felt a bit guilty because the last few videos I've done a couple of mountains, I've been in the lakes. Not spent any time with my furry best mate, you know, so I thought today would be a me and Max day. So that's what we're going to do. So, you know, stay tuned and let's see if this is a family friendly walk or if it's a bloody stupid idea. We'll find out as we go along. You can see where me and Maxie have left the path behind now, and straight away you're off track and it just becomes beautiful. I do like a walk like this, you know, I really do. And my last video I was on Wyddfa and I was a bit ranty really. I'm in a bit of a cross mood, I think, a bit stressed out. I mean, I don't really mean anything by any of my rants. I just like poking fun and having a giggle to myself sometimes. But you know, that's why it's important to get out in it. I was a bit worked up. I've got family court again this month. You get stressed with it, don't you? But honestly, there's nothing better than getting out and just feeling that, all that badness sweating out of your body, all them toxins, all that bad thoughts and energy, you know. And how can you ever feel anything but bloody good when you stand somewhere slightly panting and that's your view? I mean, those grey ass sheep there, they're cool. But yeah, look at that. Absolutely wonderful. And at the minute the path is taking me, I'm assuming what's going to happen is I'm going up this slight hill and I think I'm going to walk up the ridge of Moel Ddu there. When I was looking at it from the bottom, I thought I was going to go straight up that centre bit that you can see behind me, because it almost looks like paths, but I'll stick to what the OS map suggests, because, you know, I don't want to get lost. Well, you can't get lost, I know where I am, but I don't want to walk across a load of places I'm not supposed to be walking and upset people, you know. But one thing I will say is this wind is picking up, because when I get to the top of this hill, I should see the sea again. You should be able to see Porthmadog and Cnicht and all that sort of area. Stunning. Cold wind today though, especially when you're follically challenged like I am. Woohoo! Might have to put the hood up and look like Dangerous Brian again. I always say Dangerous Brian, assuming everybody knows who I mean. If you remember Brian Connolly back in the 90s, that's who I'm referring to. Unreal. Right, I'm going to go because I need to check my map. So we're doing all right, me and Max here. You can see all the way I've come behind me now. And as suspected, you know, you're not looking at a well-marked path like you are on something like Wyddfa, on Snowdon, for instance, you know. So if you are going to come this way, so far it's been lovely and easy. You just need to be able to navigate a map a little bit. And in weather like this, it's not too hard to sort of pick up the imprints in the ground or the heather where the path has been, you know. Struggled a little bit to find the style across that last wall. Right hidden it was behind a load of burnt heather or gorse, whatever it is they've been burning up here. But we're getting closer and closer to Moel Ddu now. I'll turn around, you see Max is absolutely loving this. There he is, look. And so far, we've been really lucky with where we've been penned in by these dry stone walls. The sheep have been on the other side of everything, so Max is having a great time. But you see Moel Ddu there, and you can see how the shape of Cnicht changes now. It's known as the Welsh Matterhorn when you look at it from the Porthmadog side, because it looks like a giant piece of Toblerone. But now you can see where you can actually see the rest of it, and Moelwyn Mawr there looking great, and I'm sure behind me you can see absolutely everything I've just been past. But yeah, so far a lovely walk. But as you can see behind me, there is a bit of a track coming through this, but it's certainly a track I would wear trousers on, because I reckon this is absolutely tick central, this land. You know, it's full of sheep, full of gorse, bog as well. Get out there, Max. So yeah, trousers for me. And I'm glad I put my gaiters on. I know it, he says as he stands in a massive puddle. I know it's sunny and dry now, but it's been so damp the last couple of days that this ground is pretty saturated. But anyway, Moel Ddu. So far, so good, guys. But look at this to my left, or to my right, sorry. I mean, how lucky am I? I've not driven here today. I've not got in my car at any point. I walked out of my house, walked a mile up the road, and here I am. Absolute arse end of nowhere, and loving life. And it's nice here, you know. They've got a bit of an ancient feel to it around here. I don't know. It feels untouched. Well, that bit behind me was absolutely minging. That was really good fun. But I've stopped. Look at that sheep up there. If I catch him quickly enough, the blackest sheep I've ever seen. Genuinely looks like he's been covered in oil or something. And there's not another one around it. He is literally the black sheep of the family. That's crazy. As you can see, though, I'm getting closer and closer to Moel Ddu now. You can see it's just there. And I'm at, according to my OS map, what is some old hut circles. Other than these old rocks, I can't really see much. But yeah, that was hard work, that little bit of terrain there. Anyway, I can see a little sheep track now going up the hill right in front of me, so I reckon this is going to be the easier part now. I always hate going across overgrown heather when there's marked on the river, or marked on the map rivers, and you can hear the streams underneath you, but you can't see them because you know you're going to get wet at some point. Anyway, I'm going to get around all these lambs and sheep with Max on the lead, and then I'll speak to you when I just get over this little ridge. I need to check the map again. Speak to you in a second. Me and Max are getting a bit higher now. Keep going, mate. And you can see behind me now the sort of ascent we're gaining. But I'll tell you what, they are not easy tracks to follow up here at all. So if you are going to come and do this Moel Ddu, or try and walk to Beddgelert over Moel Ddu and Moel Hebog, then definitely bring a map, guys. But you are rewarded with stunning views. I mean, in front of me there you can see Porthmadog. Beyond that you can see Harlech. I can see the castle. You probably can't because of the haze. And then beyond that I can see Barmouth Bay. I see Eryri. I've got the Rhinoigs. And you've just got splendid views all around you. But as I say, it's serious sort of heather and bog territory, a lot like the Rhinoigs, to be honest, a lot similar to my video on Rhinoigs that I did with Nauco. Very, very boggy indeed, but not got much further to go now. It's just taking longer than it should because of the sort of terrain, but you can see the ridge there now. That's where we're going to head to. To be fair, I've only been walking 1 hour and 20 minutes, so it's not taking me that long, but certainly longer than it would on a normal track. When you think I did the Wyddfa in 1 hour and 15 on my last video, and that's a much bigger walk to cover a much shorter distance, 1 hour and 20. So that's the sort of terrain you're on, really. So come prepared if you're going to come up here. But well worth it. Stunning place. Max is loving it, isn't he, Max? So I'm very, very close to the summit of Moel Ddu now. It's been a tough little bugger, this. I mean, it's not technically a mountain. It's only 554 metres. But my average pace at the minute is 25 minutes a mile, which is probably 11 minutes longer than I normally take on a mile. But as I say, the terrain is insane. But I've not stopped to talk to you just about the terrain. I've just been blown away by this view. So I'm going to spin the camera around and look at this. So I don't know how clear it is for you, but on the far left there, right in the distance, you've got Barmouth Bay, Harlech closer, Porthmadog there. You've got Black Rock Sands in front of me. Then you've got Cnicht, and then you can literally see all the way down the Llyn Peninsula, all the way to Abersoch, and you can even see Bardsey Island. That, I think, is probably the most of the Welsh coast I've ever seen at once. You know, obviously other than when I was on a boat coming back from Dublin, because you could see loads of it. But from stood in Wales to see all of that, mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. But we're really not far from the top. You can see Max there, he's quicker than me, and he's got 4 legs. 12-year-old and he's still running up hills, bless him, look. Having a little scratch at the top. But yeah, oh Maxie, come here, I can see a sheep. So that's me and Maxie off the top. Now we didn't film up there, I'll just show you behind me. It was pretty hard to film, but also just there, the top where we've just been. It certainly wasn't somewhere we wanted to have lunch. The wind up there, you can probably tell I'm a little bit more wrapped up, was absolutely atrocious. It's still pretty bad now, but we're coming down. The reason I wanted to show you where I am though, we're coming down, look at these views. We're heading towards Beddgelert now. But in front of me now, you've got Moel Hebog just there, you've got the old quarry, and in the distance you can see Eryri there. Yeah, there's Eryri, a little bit of cloud on the summit. It's the Rangers path that we're going up, and you can see the Clanberries path and Moel Hebog to the left, and just a second ago I could even see the steam train going up. Coming around you can see Cribgoch in the centre there of the two arches, and you've got the Watkins path coming down, and then over there in the distance you can see my favourite thing, the old Moel Siabod as well. And we're going to be heading down this way somehow now, so I'm going to put my camera away because I reckon I'm going to have to think about what I'm doing as I head down this path. But yeah, the top of Moel Ddu, windy as heck, so make sure you take some layers. I mean, I didn't expect to have a bob hat on today, but here I am, and I'm grateful for it because it was bloody cold up there, and it's still cold now coming down. And there's my next landmark I can see, which is the boundary line in front of me, so that's great news. So I'll speak to you in a minute. You can see Moel Ddu behind me now. This has got to be, oops, sugar, some of the most isolated walking I've ever done in Eryri. Really, really stunning, but very, very lonely. So, you know, if you're not 100% confident about being out on your own, maybe don't take this path, because, or lack of path, because it is lonely. Unlike Eryri or Katadyn or any of the honeypot sites, I've not passed a single soul all day, other than sheep. And you know, there's really no sign of life anywhere. I am heading towards life, and it's only a 7-mile walk, but you are 7 miles, oops, sugar, totally in the wilderness. But I'm glad I put the gaiters on today because it has been boggy as hell. So me and Max have completely got down off Moel Ddu now, and I've got to be honest, that was bloody hard work. I'll show you where I've just come down from. But yeah, that wasn't easy. You can see the top of Moel Ddu there, and we've just come down all this crag, and then you have to kind of pick a path off these overhangs, and you've got to be bloody careful because some of them have got some big drops. But we're now back onto a public footpath just here, and that'll land you, I'm going to try and say this, Cwmstradllyn, which is the name of a lake that supplies the Llyn Peninsula with water. It used to be an old quarry and mine. I don't know what Cwmstradllyn means, but Cwm is valley and Llyn is lake, so I don't know if it's like the valley straddling lakes, because there's a couple of lakes either side of me. I don't know. So if you do know, put your answers in the comments. But I'm bloody glad to be off there, if I'm honest. It was difficult work, that. It wasn't easy. And this is much nicer. I'm on a path again. Well, when I say a path, sorry Max, when I say I'm on a path, it's a little track, but it's quite clearly marked on the OS map as a decent sort of public footpath, and it's quite visible in comparison to where I've just been. In front of me, spectacular views again. But yeah, it's we've not found a good place for a brew yet. This wind is absolutely brutal, but as soon as I do find a brew, we'll stop, we'll have a chat, because I know me and Maxie are both kind of getting ready for a snack, really. It's been hard work so far. I mean, miles wise, we're on what, 4 mile? But, you know, a couple of mile an hour is the sort of pace we've been going at along this track, because it's just not been easy at all. Not been easy at all. But I'm hoping, he says, I'm hoping it's pretty much an easy slog down into Beddgelert now, because what I am hoping is that we join onto the Snowdonia Slate trail, which is a much more well-used path. That bloody wind. Anyway, I'll speak to you when we have a brew. Well, finally, I can see a little bit of civilization in front of us, and all of a sudden, come here, Maxie, this path has got very easy because, Max, just wait. All of a sudden, all I've got to do for the next few kilometres is follow this wonderful dry stone wall, which, you know, is always a pleasure because I do appreciate a dry stone wall. And in the distance there, the houses that you might be able to see, that's Aberglaslyn, which is the little village we're going to hit, and then we're going to swing a left and we're going to follow the Snowdonia Slate trail up into Beddgelert. So yeah, it's quite nice after being that isolated for that amount of miles, I'll be honest, you know, it was pretty hairy at times. That I was like, am I going the right way? And I always get slightly nervous when I can hear water running underneath me and I can't see the ground. I've got to be honest, it's not something I'm a fan of. So biggest mistake I've made today was not bringing my poles, really. Come on, Maxie, this way. Because poles just make it great and safe when you're going across sort of uncharted land. And I meant to bring them, I just totally forgot. So there you go. But what I have got today, new water bladder. Look at this. I've finally bought a deer one, because I'm always being told off by the missus, stop being tight, because, you know, stop buying crap stuff that you throw away after 6 months. But a water bladder's a water bladder to me. So I've always just bought like a 10-15 quid one off Amazon. But anyway, gone posh, and I've upgraded to a platypus, and I've got to be honest, it's exactly the same as my 15 quid one. Doesn't make it any different, doesn't feel any different. I get water out of it just the same as I did the other stuff. So yeah, so you know, I do think sometimes you can be a sucker for a brand. I mean, I'm sure platypus are marvellous, but it's not any different than my other ones, and the other ones always lasted. Problem with bladders is, eventually, you can't clean them properly, you know, they do get mouldy eventually, so you've got to bin them. But the geezer I bought the platypus off in a shop in Keswick, I can't remember it, but it was an independent sports shop, it was an independent outdoor shop, which I always prefer to use if you can. And he gave me a great bit of advice for the old bladders. He said, look, when you're not using it, drain it when you get home, but then any little bits of water left, stick your platypus, or your bladder, in the freezer. He said, and then it won't get bacteria and stuff. And I was like, that's a bloody simple, yet genius solution. And often, the best ideas are the most simple, aren't they? So yeah, so top tip for you there. And it ain't my top tip, it was a chap in a shop, and it is a good top tip. The other thing that I've got on today is different gaiters as well. And I'll be honest, they're just as crap as the last pair I bought. So I don't know if my feet are too big or what, but I need to get a decent pair of gaiters. I've gone through maybe 3 in the last year. So if you've got any recommendations for good gaiters, I'm looking for something with a leather strap, really. I'm sick of all these plasticky, knackered straps, you know. I want good gaiters. Ooh, sugar. And this is why, oh, that hurt the back. This is why walking when you can't see your feet is sometimes not the best. That was a big old dip, that. Whew, heart rate back to normal. But yeah, so back to gaiters. If you do have gaiters that you recommend, leave it in the comments, because I'm struggling to find a pair. And you know, I don't want to have to do it, but I might even have to buy a Rab pair. Ooh, I always slag Rab off. I don't mean to. Rab, there's nothing wrong with Rab. It's a brilliant brand. I just take the mick out of it a bit because, I don't know, you seem to either be mountain equipment or Rab, don't you? Anyway, I'm going to go because this is looking boggy. I don't want to be talking to you for this second. I'll see you in a sec. Well, I'm just approaching. You can see the trees behind me now. This is called Aberglaslyn Woods, or Coed Aberglaslyn. Me and Max have just got minging. Like, whoa, the path just for, it must have been a good 200-300 metres of slogging through knee or just below my knee filth. Like, regardless of what gaiters you might recommend, none were saving me then. Oh. I mean, my Zambalans are Gore-Tex and they've never let me down, but when water runs over the top of them, there's not an awful lot you can do. And my God, was it cold. But we're coming into the woods now, and this path, according to my OS map, should become much more prominent in a second. I mean, it's already become much more prominent than it was while me and Max was wading practically through a river. Sounding like Jonathan Ross then. Through a river, which is why I wasn't filming. But, oh, I'm looking forward to getting a bit more prominent, because I really am ready to stop and have a brew. There's just not been anywhere remotely good or out of the wind, but we're dropping out of the wind now. I can tell because I'm starting to sweat again. So yeah, it looks like there's a cut through on the wall now. So I'm hoping we should, what I'm guessing according to the map, is like a forestry walk. And there's a waterfall apparently en route as well, so that should be quite pleasant. I don't know, Max seems to have found the path already. And yeah, we're about to go into these woods and I'll show you. Was a style. What have you found, Maxie? It certainly looks like we're back on what I would call a sort of a touristy walk, you know. Looks like there's been lots of tree felling going on around here as well. Maxie, this way please. Go on, this way please. Come on. So yeah, I'm guessing we're just going to walk through the woods now. So yeah, I'm going to derobe and I'll speak to you again very shortly when we've when we found our route. So me and Max have finally stopped for a rest. We found a perfect spot. You can see the waterfall behind me. And when I was saying when I was walking that, I've not found anywhere right for a brew, I can obviously sit on my arse anywhere and have a brew and get the Jetboil out. But when you can sit anywhere, why would you just sit and pick anywhere? You know, you want to pick the best spot, don't you? And when I want a spot to have a brew and get the Jetboil out, ideally you want it to be pretty. You know, I've got a waterfall behind me there. Got forest in front of me. It's very quiet. It's very beautiful. I'm guessing it's not always quiet and beautiful here, though, because just on the tree in front of me, there is I was going to say an Ordnance Survey marker. That's a lie. Bloody hell, what do you call it? An orienteering marker. God, my mind went then. That's what a tired mind does to you. So Max has had his, what have you had, Max? You've just eaten a rabbit's here, haven't you? And you've just eaten a chicken's foot as well. And I've just had a banana. I'm not really feeling like hot food, so I've had a banana, got an apple in my bag as well if I'm fancying that. But I do fancy a brew, so I've got the old Contigo ready. And I must say thank you to my mother, who gave it the best clean it's ever had in its life when I last visited her. So that's good. And the other bit of kit I wanted to show you today, obviously I've mentioned that I got a new platypus, a new water bladder. And it's slightly smaller than the other one. It's only 2 litres rather than 3. I've done that for 2 reasons. One, 3 kilos is more weight than you need. But the other reason is I've just invested in one of these. And these are brilliant. So this is called a Katadyn B3. Now I've opted for the 0.6 of a litre size one. And what these are is bags that, well, the bottles that can be squished, really, really small. And inside you've got this live filter. So you scoop that in the water, you put your filter in, give it a shake, and then you can either drink directly out of the bottle. Why not? You know, it's a water bottle. Or you can use it to then fill up your water bladder and keep doing it that way. And for cooking and stuff like that. So absolutely ideal. I'm just wondering if I switched the Jetboil on. Yeah, I have. So these are called Katadyn B3s, and if you are doing, I mean, today's not a big hike, it's only 7 miles, but what it was is, I've got 3 miles left, and I know it's pretty easy now, because what I'm going to do is come out of these woods, out of Aberglaslyn Woods. I'm going to hit the A road, swing a left, and I'm going to join the Snowdonia Slate Trail, which is a real well marked path from here to Beddgelert. But between my house, just on the outskirts of Prenteg and Porthmadog, all the way to here, I didn't know how long I was going to be up there. I knew there's plenty of water points, so I've got one of these, and they are great bits of kit. I originally bought it for Hadrian's, but I mean, look at that, to fold up as a water filtration system, ideal. And Maxie, come away from the edge, please. And I did buy Nauco at Christmas a Camelback live straw bottle, which are great, but they don't fold down, and they've got weight to them, and they're a little bit more cumbersome, but they are great. But these are so much cooler. So yeah, Katadyn B3, strongly recommend it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the walk today. I know it's been a bit random. I'm honest, it's been one of the toughest ones I've done for quite some time. Not physically. Physically, it's not been tough. It's been like, you know, I think, what am I on? Hang on. I'm on 5.5 miles at the minute, which isn't a big walk by any means. Max is loving it. 525 metres of ascent, I think, roughly. But it's been mentally hard, you know. It's for the first time in a while, since the Rinoig, sorry, that I've had to use the old map and compass, you know, and really concentrate on where I'm going. And the wind at the tops up there, oh my God, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal, because you've got it coming straight off the coast. You're rewarded with spectacular views, but, you know, that walk I've just done at Moel Ddu, even if you went from this direction, it's crap ground, that beautiful ground. I do think going from this way would be much easier than the way I went, because you can take a public footpath up to Cwmstradllyn that we talked about earlier, which was an old quarry back in 1850, 1860, something like that. Failed ultimately. They didn't make the money they wanted to, but because of that, you can actually still see the old tracks going up there, which I'm guessing would have been rail tracks at one point. So quite an easy route to follow if you went from this way, but it is still bog, gorse, heather up to your knees. As I say, I mean, look at my pants, they're wet up to here. And I'm a big lad. But gaiters, I mean, these gaiters, cheating hell. These were I'm sorry, I know Nauka will be watching this. I'm sorry, love. I'll stop getting cheap things. These were Peter Storm ones, and they've lasted 3.5 mile. You know, so Peter Storm Mountain Warehouse, you know, you're selling goods and they're crap. You know, they might only be 30 quid, but they're crap. They're really crap. So don't bother with them. Jesus, for the first time in 4 hours, I can see some humans on the other side there. Oh, look at that. All that steam means the old Jetboil is ready. And look at that. So we've been talking, and my brew's on the go, and that is some seriously hot water. So, yeah, there we go. It's just so good, a Jetboil, you know. And you know, I always harp on about Jetboils, but you can get various versions now. I know Alpkit do a version, OEX do a version now. But again, for me, I just think the Jetboil's the best. All the other ones I've seen are slightly higher, slightly taller, so they're not as good in the wind. Just going to let all that cool down. It'll brew on. So yeah, so I've got a nice brew. Yeah, so I don't know how much harder this walk's going to be. I don't think it's going to be hard at all now. I think we're going to walk on down through the rest of these woods. I'm going to hit Aberglaslyn town, and then hopefully pick up the Slate trail and get into Beddgelert. And once I get into Beddgelert, I'm going to get the bus, the S4 Sherpa bus, back home, because obviously I don't want to do that walk all the way back again. I'd rather walk down the A road, if I'm honest, because that, I'll be honest, guys, if you're just getting into hiking and you've not done a lot, that hike there, not a beginner's hike, that, yeah, you'd feel very isolated and very lost. I mean, if you was in a group, it wouldn't be so bad. But obviously, I'm on my own with Max, you know, so you've got to be a little bit more sensible and be able to know where you're going a little bit more. But I'm glad I've done it. You know, you can't live at the bottom of a big ass hill and not walk up it, can you? I just didn't think it would be, well, I did. I said at the beginning of the video, didn't I? I knew the map would be lying. I knew it weren't going to be big, happy public footpaths that were clearly visible with signs. I mean, half the stiles had collapsed. Most of the signposts were missing. And most of the path was a goat track or whatever. Shit. Anyway, I've just melted the top of that plastic. Bloody hell. Jetboils remain hot for quite a while, guys. Anyway, I'll speak to you all in a little bit. I'm going to get this the old phone on charge in case I need my map. You know what? It's nice to be getting back into civilization now. I'm in these woods. I've just seen humans for the first time, and now look, this is the first directional arrow that I think I've seen for about 3 miles since I was at the gates up near the quarry. So a hell of a long walk without any direction. So really important that you have your map on you on that walk, I tell you. And that bog, oh my god, it's nice to sit down there and have a brew with Max. And I didn't bother taking my boots off. I did think about it, but we weren't stopping for long enough, to be honest, and it's not that warm in the dark woods to dry yourself off. But we're coming down now. I've just checked my map and my timings and stuff, and I reckon I'm about 45 minutes at a slow pace outside of Beddgelert. And to be honest, I'm not going at a quick pace, just because I'm taking it all in, really. And after what was the barren badlands of Eryri, it's quite nice now, if I show you, to be walking somewhere like this, you know. Oh, so we are back in civilization. I am back on what looks like the A road. And at first I thought I was that happy to see civilization again, I'd wet myself. Turns out that I've put my brew in the front pouch and I didn't put my brew lid on tight enough. And I'm now walking around looking like I peed my pants because I've got hot coffee all down my groin. And it wasn't hot by the time it was hitting me, it was just slightly warm, which is why I thought I've just peed myself in all my excitement of finally finding the road. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my map up while I speak to you. And it turns out I've not peed myself, I've just spilled coffee. So lesson learned, guys, if you are going to you know, walk with your brew in the front pouch, make sure that lid's on properly. But I'm on the main road now. Yeah, this is the A road. Apparently I need to cross over somewhere, so I'm going to go while I figure out this main road, and then we should be on the Snowdonia Slate trail. And I'm pretty sure, if I've got this right, it's the one that curves around the side of the river going into Beddgelert, so it should be absolutely stunning. So I'll show you a little bit more of that in a minute to cross this road. Here we are as promised then. So we're now going to be hitting the Snowdonia Slate trail. The Eryri is where we're going now. It's going to take us all the way up, as suspected, the beautiful river leading into Beddgelert. So let's get through this kitchen gate. And we'll let Max lead the way. You can go off your lead again now, Max. Come here, buddy. Whoa. And this is the part of the walk that I've really been looking forward to because, oh, I've lost you. Because I drive past this daily on my way home from work or to work or whatever, and I've seen a couple of people walking along and I think, bloody hell, that looks lovely going alongside the river. And it's just outside of Beddgelert this, so you can always get the bus down to this point or even drive. There's a lay-by you could park at. And just at the turning point where you could go to Penryn or carry on down to Porthmadog. And it's a little old, what looks like a Roman stone bridge, but then you've got this lovely path, Max is leading the way, of the Snowdonia Slate Trail. And I'm going to guess that unlike where I've just been, this part of the walk is going to be relatively effortless in terms of technicality, in terms of reading my map, you know. I reckon we'll just be able to enjoy the scenery, and my gosh, if I go the camera this way a little bit, you should certainly be able to hear the river, you might be able to see it. Should be a clearing in a second. But absolutely mesmerising. It was quite funny a second ago, I stopped on the bridge to get one of those, you know, oh look at this will be a nice thumbnail shot, and get on this bridge. Anyway, so I was taking the picture with river behind me, and out of nowhere this chap just come walking out in his shorts and his baseball cap and stood right centre shot halfway down the river. I thought, bloody hell, I've all the time for two people to be in that same spot. Anyway, so I took the picture, but I'll probably not use it. Look at this below me though. Absolutely wicked this. And I think that's the A487 that you can see on the other side of the river. So yeah, absolutely stunning this. I've got my brew, well half of my brew because half it's down my front pouch. Hopefully my pants will be dry by the time I get into Beddgelert, otherwise everyone's going to think I've wet myself. Oh my word, Max is just ahead of me. I'm looking down because these rocks, it's not a treacherous path, but just be my luck to slip here. But let me turn this around, look where Max has gone. Look at this. Absolutely wonderful little bit of a walk now. Look at that. Now don't get me wrong, there's parts of the Snowdonia Slate Trail that are just as isolated as where I've been, but this part is wonderful leading into Beddgelert. I've got families coming past me now as well. But yeah, wicked walk. So walk along the Slate Trail and look at this. I'm not brave enough for it, but check this out. Look at that mine entrance. Oh no, it's not for me that. I mean, I can see a bit around the bend, but no, I'm not into going underground. Be there long enough when you die. I'm not going for that, me. Whew. Let's carry on with this lovely path instead, eh? So we're here, we made it. Beddgelert's directly in front of me. I'm on the path, Gelert's grave is there. What a walk, what an absolute walk that was. Totally cleared my head. Oh, incredible views, incredible scenery. Max has absolutely powered it. Back in time to make the bus that we wanted to make as well, so we don't have to wait around for an hour, so that's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to bin these Peterstorm gaiters as soon as I get into Beddgelert because they are ruined after a 7-mile hike through pretty tough terrain, to be fair, but it should be lasting 7 miles, so Peterstorm, do better. So don't forget to leave your comments about what you recommend I get for my next adventure in terms of gaiters. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. 293 subscribers now. Let's try and get over that 300 mark. I'll be absolutely buzzing. It's totally free to subscribe, remember, and it just gives me a massive boost and makes me want to get out and film more, you know. So as always, thank you very much for joining me. I've been Dan. This has been a right nice place, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Whew.